and welcome to the Modernist Show. Here's our first guest, Ernest Hemingway.
Hello everyone, I'm delighted to be here.
What is one hardship you faced?
A hardship that I faced throughout my lifetime is definitely alcoholism.
What is any advice that you have for future writers?
Advice that I have for future writers is to write about something that you truly care for, because if you start writing for something you studied with over the years, it's not going to be as truthful and not going to sound as good.
Have you ever had writer's block?
I did. When I lived in Paris, I had writer's block, and what I did is I went out into the rooms of Paris, and I would think to myself, I wrote before, I can write again. So after I did that a couple of times, I would go back, write one truthful statement, and just go from there.
How long did it take you to write a book?
To write my most famous novel, it took me 2 years to get going, and then I paused to write another novel, and then 16 years later, I decided to continue writing that novel, so it took me over 18 years.
Thank you for your time, Ernest Hemingway.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to the Modernist Show. Here's our next guest, Ezra Pound.
Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime. What do you think is your most famous and best work?
Well, definitely the Cantos. That was by far the best. And The Wasteland was pretty good too, not gonna lie.
When did you decide to become a writer?
Well, I just kind of always felt it. I was born in 1885, and then I went off to college. In 1908, I went to college, and by the age 15, I was already writing poems, and I was fascinated. I loved it. So I just knew from then.
What was a hardship you faced?
Well, going to jail was pretty tough. I lived in Italy for like the second portion of my life, and from there I had more works done, and then I had the issue of trying to keep my native country at peace with my adopted one, my adopted being Italy. So from there it became a little complicated being between the two.
Does your family support your career as a writer?
Well, Isabel and Homer, the good old folks, they just loved having me write my works, and they were really supportive. They were a great family to me.
Thank you for watching. Hello and welcome to the Modernist Show. Here's our next guest, John Steinbeck.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well today.
What do you think is your most famous work?
Personally, I would have to say that out of a select group of them, I would give it to Of Mice and Men. It's a very inspirational book. It ties into a lot of things, both in the culture of the time of inspiration and even today. And I would say that it is worthy of being my best book.
What is your inspiration?
My inspiration came from the land I grew up in. I was born in a little town in the middle of California. Not that much out there, so I had a lot of time on my hands to think. Likewise, I was born in the middle of the Depression, so all of the bad situations and the people wanting to come to California, I got firsthand experience on everything that had to be of the bad side of the Depression.
What period of life do you find that you write about most often?
I would say young adult to about mid-age adult, 30s, 40s. Example, Mice and Men, you have Lenny and George, they're about in their 30s, and then in Grapes of Wrath, everybody ranges from children ages 10 or so to grandpa who's 80, so if you take the middle of that, that's about 40-ish.
What is literary success to you?
Literary success to me is something that makes the person think. It makes them question what they're living. That they're not to say that they're not satisfied with the way they're living, but to question it and see what is the cause, what is the purpose for their life, what happiness do they find in their life, and if they don't find it, then they have the reasons to find it.
Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome back to the Modernist Show. Here's our final guest, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Great to be here.
What do you think is your most famous work?
For sure, The Great Gatsby, because although it wasn't perceived well at first, it really represented the roaring 20s as a whole.
What was a hardship you faced?
Probably alcoholism, because You know what I mean? You have one too many drinks one night, things get crazy, you don't remember it the next day. Yeah, it was some tough times. Really broke apart my family.
Have you ever gotten writer's block?
Actually, for The Great Gatsby, I went to Valescar, France to go write the book, to go get some creativity and a change of scenery.
Does your family support your career as a writer?
Once I had those one too many drinks, my wife, Zelda Fitzgerald, had a mental breakdown, so I kind of burnt all my bridges with my family and it didn't end very well.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next week on The Modernist Show.
I'm waking up to obnoxious luck. Everybody's youth is a dream, a form of chemical madness. Went to France, wrote a book that made history in the USA. This is it, the Great Gatsby. Whoa, I'm pro-fascist, living in Italy. Glance is the enemy of vision. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules. Rhythm is form, cut into time. Literature is news that stays news. The artist is always beginning. Whoa. The grapes of wrath, mice and men, more books to come with no plan to end. Thoughts are slow, deep and golden. Whoa, give a critic an inch, he'll write a play. Beauty and truth, even if it's dreadful. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules. Traveling to countries all across, writing the old man and the sea. There is no friend as loyal as a book. Time is the thing we have least of. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules. Whoa, whoa, I'm breaking tradition, making my own rules.